In Dr. Stephen Gundry's best-selling book, The Plant Paradox, he says lectins are microscopic proteins that plants evolved to defend themselves from predators, including insects and animals, that includes humans. They are essentially indigestible and have the unique ability to increase the permeability of your intestines. That means that they can pass through the wall of your gut, will and be treated as foreign invaders by your immune system. This causes an inflammatory response, which can set the stage for a host of diseases, as well as weight gain. What foods are rich in lectins? And generally speaking, all grains and legumes have more lectins than anything else. In some cases, pressure cooking can destroy the lectins. Nightshade vegetables, squashes, and select nuts and seeds are also rich in lectins. Do you agree with Dr. Gundry? Why or why not?
So Dr. Stephen Gundry, a fellow graduate of training programs at the University of Michigan, but he is a cardiac surgeon, 10 years older than me. My training was in cardiology, the medical side of heart disease. He was the surgical side. He had a great career. He was actually chief of cardiac surgery at Loma Linda University, a famous university for plant eaters. He was very involved in transplant immunology, all good. In fact, the last medical publication he had was in 2004, was on heart transplant. Very esteemed. He also, very honestly, had many patents in the field of cardiac surgery. He sold them. He made a lot of money. That's America. That's wonderful. But he became a celebrity doc after that in Palm Springs, wrote a book a few years ago about evolutionary diets, and then in 2017, he announced that he has discovered this unknown path of disease in the Western world, that plants are fighting back against us with these terrible, terrible reactions to these chemicals called lectins, this group of proteins. And in fact, they're in animal products, they're in plant products, they're throughout nature. There's hundreds and hundreds of lectins. You don't go in the grocery store and buy lectins. You buy foods. Foods have hundreds of components, of which this class of family is one. And they are concentrated in legumes, beans, peas, lentils. So he has advised in his book, he calls it the plant paradox. I call it the plant poopadox because I think it's full of BS. And I've debated Dr. Gundry on national TV, and I've debated him in other settings. And I'm admiring of his kindness and his magnetic personality, which is the problem because he looks good on camera and speaks good on camera. And he's everywhere on camera, and he's convincing America that they should be very scared of eating what is indeed the irony, the single food group that in the blue zones, pockets of longevity, every blue zone in the 5 areas where people live over age 100, 10 times more than anywhere else in the United States, they eat legumes as a major component of their diet. So you have science that says legumes promote health for a variety of reasons. Fiber, they're inexpensive, they're high in protein, they're full of minerals, they're not fried food, so they're replacing other choices we might make that would be less healthful. And he's telling us that they're killing us. He will tell you that 5 red kidney beans eaten raw or undercooked will kill a man. And in fact, there's absolutely no data for that. There is a few reports of undercooked raw red kidney beans causing GI upset, and they will. And so you get to the proper cooking of beans. So my great state of Michigan, we have a great legume packaging company that pressure cooks beans and lentils, puts them in cans or BPA-free cans. They're organic. I love them. You never have to worry about this issue. You got a pressure cooker or whatever you have, you don't have to worry. You got dried beans, peas, lentils, you soak them, you rinse them, you cook them. It only takes a few minutes of cooking to destroy lectins. I don't know people chomping on raw red kidney beans and trying to eat dried lentils. It just doesn't exist as a condition. So he's created a fear. He's created a theory that has no support. The thing I object to is 2 last things. He'll say that he's published lots of data to support his medical research. Indeed, there's one single paragraph that he's published called an abstract. That's a very preliminary report on any medical science. That abstract has errors in it that are gross and egregious, including he calls his own program the pant paradox. He couldn't even spell plant right. So I can't honor a man who can't figure out with, word and proofreading nowadays being so simple, that plant and pant are not the same word. The second is his book, and this was pointed out by the esteemed Dr. Colin Campbell from Cornell, has many, many errors of science in it. So you'll read a paragraph, it'll say the reference is reference 1 of chapter 7, you go to the back of the book, you go to the online library, you go look up that reference. It has nothing to do with what he said. That's called fraud. That's called misrepresentation. So I have no love in my heart for what he's done, because of course he's selling a $100 a month vitamin called the lectin blocker to protect you from these awful, dangerous, ingredients in your food. And they're not awful and they're not dangerous, and you don't need his $100 monthly vitamin. And it's just fraud, fraud, fraud. He's confused the American public. He needs to be shut down and stopped. But money speaks, and he's got the money.